If volunteering is the backbone of a community, then Truckee has no shortage of strength or character. With us here today on Truckee Talks are several different volunteers, members of service organizations and volunteer groups that help define the character of our town. I'd like to welcome on the first half of the show Mark Stebbins from Sunrise Rotary Club, Brenda LeBlanc. Brenda, thank you for coming, and Brenda's from the Seroptimus Club, and Graham Biaggi, and you'll have to correct me if I get your name wrong, and you're from Scout Troop number?
Pack 734.
Pack 734 Cub Scouts, the little guys. Thank you all for coming to the show. What I wanted to talk about on today's show is a little bit about where your money comes from. Everybody has different fundraising events, and a lot of times folks in town are aware of these events as social occasions, but don't really understand the impact of where the monies that you raise go and how they benefit the community. And Mark, since you're right here, let's talk about this first. And you have a duck on your shirt, sir. Would you like to explain that?
Sure, Maya. Thanks for asking. Perfect timing. We're very happy to say that the Truckee Sunrise Rotary has a couple of major fundraisers on an annual basis. And the first one that's going to be coming up September 20th and is by far and away the Truckee Sunrise Rotary's largest fundraiser, and that's our annual duck races. And we're happy to have people come out on Saturday, September 20th, beginning from 11 and going until whenever it ends. But we're going to be having our duck races where an individual can adopt a duck for $5 or they can adopt 6 ducks for $25 and be able to have a chance at a grand prize of $4,000. So and we hope people will come out for that.
We should probably let people know, too, that they're not adopting live ducks, that they'll actually be taking home.
No, in fact, what they are going to be adopting are these thoroughbred 2-inch plastic bathtub racing ducks. They are well fed, well taken care of through the course of the year, and they are trained for the race specifically.
Looks like they work out all year long.
They do work out, and amazingly enough, they don't grow or shrink, so it works out pretty well.
I'd like to know what that duck knows.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about these fancy ducks you've got down here. Because
well, in addition to adopting a duck, we also ask that if there are businesses in the community who would like to help us underwrite the costs of the duck races, it allows obviously more funds for us to be able to raise that will go back to the Truckee community in general. But for a business to sponsor a duck, what in fact we have is a special race, a sponsor's duck race. We use plastic duck decoys, as you see right here. Business sponsor for $100 would receive the duck decoy, and in addition to that, they're also going to receive the hat, which is of course the largest expense that we have with the duck. But the idea is that we're asking all those sponsor businesses to please decorate their duck in any way, shape, or form that they wish. And what we're going to do is have a special sponsors race, and the winner of the sponsors race is going to receive their special trophy for themselves, and plus it'll go on a perennial plaque that we'll have available, and that'll be up in the community. And just to give you an example, here is a decorated duck of one of our sponsors, a local attorney here in town. You wouldn't be able to tell, but he's a San Francisco Giant fan. I won't mention the name because the individual is in Rotary and he could be subject to a substantial fine.
In that case, I think you should mention his name clearly.
That's another story to itself.
Mark, thank you for that. We'll come back to you in just a few minutes and ask where your money is going. It sounds like those duck races are a lot of fun. The date for those again?
It's going to be Saturday, September 20th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you haven't had a chance to get your tickets yet or you're interested in finding out more information, please call Bob Lamberg at 587-6587.
587-6587. Okay. All right, Brenda, yes. I know that you represent one of the more fun opportunities there are for socializing annually in town, and you've got a fancy box and some glasses and a bottle, so why don't you tell us about what Seroptimus does?
Well, first of all, we have one of our fundraisers, is our ice cream booth at the rodeo. And then periodically during the year we do candy sales, not only with the candy store downtown locally, but also See's Candy. But by far the best fundraiser, excuse me, Mom, and your ducks, is our annual wine tasting. And everyone that comes to the wine tasting gets a free glass. We have several wineries that come to the wine tasting to have us taste their wines. We have local restaurants here in town that will donate their hors d'oeuvres. It's once a year, usually the last weekend in May or the first weekend in June. And I believe this year it's going to be the first weekend in June.
For 98.
For 98.
Okay.
And it's a great fundraiser for us.
And I should mention, too, it's just a lot of fun. People
Lots of fun.
Turn out in droves for that. That's a really fun event.
It is fun, very much. And we have different prizes. We have door prizes, we have silent auctions, and so, yes, it is a good time.
Okay. Graham, Let's talk a little bit about what your guys are doing right now.
Guys are doing well. Meeting September 16th, Tuesday. That's a registration and PAC meeting. And as far as fundraisers are concerned, we are in October having our annual popcorn sales, which we go door to door and we ask for, we sell our popcorns and it benefits the Cub Scout troop. As far as community events, in November, we do the annual food drive. Last year we helped out with Project Mana, I believe, and we supported the community that way.
And tell me the age group that you're dealing with now. You say you're Cub Scouts.
It's Cub Scouts. The age group is 6 years old to 10-year-old.
Okay.
And they start off, the 6-year-olds will start off in the Tiger Cub program, and as each age group goes up, it ranks from wolf, bear, and webelos, right up to the 10-year-olds.
Okay. And there are several different fundraising events that you do during the year to help support the PAC, is that correct? Or?
Yes, we are planning to have a car wash in September, and we're talking about having a dog wash in the spring, which will be a unique experience.
Well, in the spring, most of the dogs in town need it. That's probably a good opportunity, at least for the kids to get wet.
Oh, definitely.
Let's come back and talk a little bit about where the monies go. We see a lot of different fundraising activities in town, and I'm not sure that people really see the full impact of where different service clubs and volunteer organizations spend their money. And Mark, perhaps we'll start again with you and talk a little bit about that.
Sure, Maya. Well, first of all, if I might just step back real quickly, I mentioned the duck races as by far and away our major fundraiser, but we do have another fundraiser that is coming up, in fact, just this weekend. This Friday and Saturday, we have the Culpeper and Merriweather Circus coming into town out at the Truckee-area rodeo grounds, and it's a small fundraiser that we have as well for the community. Great family event, and for $4 a ticket for the kids and $6 for an adult. It's pretty inexpensive, and a family can go out there and have a good time. And there's 2 shows, both on Friday and on Saturday, so we would encourage people to do that.
And we talk about Friday and Saturday, we mean the 5th and 6th, because the
5th and
show will
6th,
air
that's
for a while.
correct.
Okay.
And the shows are 5:30 to 7:30 on Friday, and they are from 2 and 4 p.m. on Saturday. So hopefully a time that would fit well for any family that would be interested in going to the circus.
Okay.
As far as where the monies go, in the Truckee community, we had last year about $14,000 that were donated back to the community. Local sports and education programs through Rec and Park and the Truckee schools for the kids. Also the Tahoe Forest Hospital, the Teddy Bear Clinic, which is a child identification program. We're involved in the Christmas Adopt a Family program, the Truckee Elementary lawn project, and just had a lawn put in last year, and we helped with that. Student scholarship, both of the high schools. And as well, this last year we were asked by the Sheriff's Department to help out with the DARE Sheriff's Patrol car, and we donated for that as well. So the monies are going back into the community and for real good purposes.
That's a big chunk of change, too, to be throwing back into the community. That's good news. Brenda, how about the Sir Optimists?
Well, through our fundraisers, it enables us to give 5 scholarships to the high school. We also have a scholarship for a woman that's a single parent that's going back into the workforce, and that she will need some kind of education, formal education. That's a scholarship. We give a Youth Citizenship Award that goes to one of the Truckee High School students. We also give to, there's several, Teen Pregnancy Program, which we sponsor right now. We give to Excellence in Education. We give to AFS, American Field Service. We have Arts for the School, Project Graduation.
It's just kind of an
just
ongoing
goes on,
list.
ongoing list of different things in the community that we give back to.
That's super. That's super. And Graham, how many scouts do you have in your troop? How many?
Well, last year we've had 60, and it depends on how many register and how many join. But we're hoping for a good turnout this September.
And you said registration night is September?
Tuesday, September the 16th.
Tuesday the 16th. Okay, so people have a chance then to bring their kids who have not yet been exposed to Scouts, or would this also be for returning Scouts?
Also for returning Scouts.
Okay.
And we're having a PAC meeting also to explain more about Scouting, some of the events that happened last year, Pinewood Derby races, Camp Ohotsies, and all the fun events that happened over the last year. So we'll be showing everybody that. during the PAC meeting.
And if adults wanted to get involved with this and volunteer, would that be a good opportunity for them to come that night, or?
Definitely, definitely. We always, Cub Scouts is a family event. It's not just for the kids, but it's a family activity. There's a lot of activities through your Cub Scout manual book to do as a family group, and as they do the family groups, they get merit badges and awards, and that's where most of our funds go, is back to the Cub Scouts for their awards.
So again, encouraging the kids to strive for goals, attain those goals.
Exactly.
And then you have the fundraisers to help with that.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, it is just a really strong reflection on our community and what a wonderful place it is when we have more volunteer groups than we can possibly fit on one show. And we do have more guests coming up in the second half of the show, but I'd like to thank all three of you for being here on the first half. I wish you luck with the duck races,
Thanks, Maya.
with the circus. Of course, I'll be there at the wine tasting in the spring, but I wish you luck with all the other events that you do. And Graham, good luck with the Cub Scouts as well.
Thank you,
And
Maya.
thank you all for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be
Thank
back
you.
in just a few minutes with more guests, more volunteers and service groups right here in Truckee. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. We're talking about volunteer and service groups here in Truckee, and for the second half of the show, I'd like to welcome three new guests. With me are Brent Collinson from Truckee Rotary, Sarah Trebelcock, and Sarah, I'll introduce you as from the Truckee River Habitat Restoration Group, although I know you're involved in much more than that, and Hans Osterman, and Hans, you are with the Optimist of Truckee.
That's correct.
All right, well, welcome to all three of you, and thank you for coming. We're just going to pretty much run through the same drill that we ran through with the other folks. We want to know what you're doing, what kind of activities you're involved in, and where your money's raised go. Sarah, you've got a big event coming up, and I'd like to talk to you first about that. You've got Truckee River Day coming up.
That will take place on October 5th, which is not very far away, and we're getting very busy planning for that.
And that involves a cleanup activity?
Cleanup is only one small part of the activity. Actual river restoration work in the river, which will be done using willow wattles such as this.
A willow wattle. You're going to have to explain yourself.
And a tree planting. All of the groups will also be involved in education. We have different possibilities. People can sign up for groups where they'll learn about the plants, the animals, fly fishing, different aspects of the river as part of the day.
Now, the Habitat Restoration Group is fairly new, isn't it, in formation?
Right. We are in the process, actually, of forming it as a nonprofit corporation. We're just about done. We've just elected our officers, and this is actually our big activity of the year, although we are at present involved in a project on the Little Truckee River where we have a large grant which we are trying to get matched at this point locally.
Okay. And we'll come back to you in just a few minutes, and I definitely want to find out about this willow wattle. Sir, you are very dapper today.
Well, thank you.
You might want to tell us why you're all dressed up in a tux and a bolo tie.
Well, our main fundraiser is the Cadillac Ball. This year's theme is Country Elegance. And so we have the elegance with tuxedo and the country with the bolo tie and the hat.
And the hat. And the hats are optional?
Hats are optional.
And this is Truckee Rotary's big event of the year.
It is. It's our largest fundraiser. Last year we raised probably about $30,000 from that, and that was all money that went back into the community.
Wow, that's a lot. And it's also a big social event. I think a lot of people in town look forward to that.
I think the social event of the Truckee North Shore for the fall anyway.
Wouldn't be hard to do.
A lot of people enjoy going there, and I think everybody has a good time.
Dancing and food and socializing.
And the chance to win $10,000 cash.
Ah, yes. We won't drop that by the wayside. We'll come back and talk in a few minutes about where your money goes. That's, again, a large amount of money that you raise, and we'll come back and talk about that. Hans, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you are with the Truckee Optimist Club.
Correct.
All right. Well, I know one of the big events that you do every year is the Cannibal Cruise.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
a whole lot of fun. Why don't you tell us about
That
that?
is our one of our major events, and it is a car show, and it involves a dance, a concert the night before, car judging, events for the youngsters during the day, and it's a 3-day event, and it is supported largely and by the local merchant community. And to just show you very briefly, all these small printed names are actually local merchants who have supported the event. And that really gets it off the ground.
Gets it going.
And then, of course, it draws quite a number of people into the community, and we have roughly 300 cars in attendance every year.
Hans, how many people attend the Cannibal Cruise? How many visitors? And
I think there, over the 3-day event, I would say there are something like 25,000
Oh, that's
people easily,
tremendous.
you know, who come to town for this particular event. And in fact, people staying, you can't get a hotel room in town. They stay in North Tahoe and even in Reno just to attend the car show. I didn't realize that there was such a tremendous subculture of car people in California.
Oh,
you know.
yes.
But I'm now
You're
aware
learning.
of it, very aware of it, yeah.
Well, Hans, we'll start with you as far as where the money that your club raises goes every year. Now, the Cannibal Cruise isn't the only event that you have.
No, we also sell Christmas trees at the Lucky Long's shopping center. That goes all through December and starts actually at the last week of November already. And we get quite a bit of support from the community for that. So people who are raising youngsters in this community help us by buying their Christmas trees from us, you know. And we try to provide quality trees for them.
Yes, I've seen good trees at your lot. So where does that money go then once you...
Now, the Optimist Club is strictly dedicated to the support of youth. So we are supporting athletic and academic events in the high school, middle school, and at the elementary school level. And then also other organizations who are non-school connected, they're not school connected, they're receiving money.
As long as
Things
they're
like
youth-oriented.
Yeah, youth-oriented, like the AYSO, the big soccer organization. And this community has so many youngsters involved in sports, you know, there's always need for money.
Yes.
And we are providing roughly, we have a budget, we are expending $25,000 we're giving back to the community in 1 year, you know.
Great.
And as our events grow, of course, the money available to spend on youngsters will grow. You know?
And that's one of the things I think that we need to really be clear with our audience about, is that when you attend these functions, when you donate prizes, when you give your time, that you're not just giving for the event, that you're giving to something that will help enhance our community, and that's really the bottom line.
You know. And we have, in recent years, we have begun to balance the expenditures between athletics and academics.
Academia.
Because we were a little bit behind in the academic area, so we have spruced that up a little bit, you know, because I was a former high school teacher and I realized the need for that.
Oh, well,
so
then
we're
certainly
giving
the
more
emphasis.
to scholarships and environmental camps or whatever the youngsters, and we would like to do, and I know the Rotary Club is doing that too, we would like to get back into oratorial contests and essay contests,
speech
you know,
contests and that sort of thing.
And I think we can coordinate that, and the school is always supportive.
Okay.
You know,
Well, Hans,
of
thank
those
you very
programs.
much.
Thank you.
Brent, let's talk a little bit about where the Rotary money goes.
Besides going locally, which I'll get back to in a minute, one thing that our Rotary Club is part of a Rotary International, and we send money to an international foundation that does, their biggest project right now is the eradication of polio. When the program started about 8-9 years ago, there were 40,000 cases of polio each year, and last year there were less than 2,000, and they have a goal before the turn of the century to entirely eradicate polio. Also on the international scene, and part of our local youth is that we are now hosting 2 different students here in Truckee. We have one outbound student that's in Thailand now, and we also are helping an orphanage in Mexico. But on the more local scene, we have a broad variety of projects. We've helped youth groups, youth sports, soccer, and Little League. We will this weekend be delivering approximately 30 cords of wood to senior citizens and needy people. We have a Christmas Care project, part of the Adopt a Family program that the whole community is involved with. We have scholarships, both academic and vocational scholarships. We even last year gave $500 for a youth project at preschool. And lots of people come to us with different programs. We've given a lot of money to the school for a tech lab, computers, helped with the Internet Day, different things like that.
Do people come to you with funding requests, or how do you determine where your money goes?
Really both. People can come to us with requests, and they also can go to, or we will identify a need and go out and do that. One thing that we're just starting is what's called our Legacy Project, which is in effect working with Sarah's group and to some extent in trying to develop the Truckee River into more recreation oriented. We're starting with hoping to develop a bike trail, walking and running trail along the Truckee River, and then doing what we can to help restore it as well.
And you're taking that on separate from the other things that you fund all year long?
Correct.
Okay. Well, Sarah, you're involved in something very special. And when we talk about what your group is doing, it's not monies that are going back into the community, but it really is the environment of our community. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing and how Truckee River Habitat Restoration Group came to be, and especially the willow wattle.
Especially the willow wattle. Well, I have been working in this field for about 20 years in river restoration, and what has happened is over the years, pretty much the sources of funding for projects like this, like we've been doing, has dried up. So we had to, in order to accomplish the things in our community and on our river and watershed, we decided to form this volunteer group, nonprofit group. And we're going to try to do the same types of things that we used to be able to do with hard cash, with volunteer efforts, and also with matching, trying to match funds from the federal government that are still available.
Okay, and when you're talking about restoring the Truckee River, what geographic section are you referring to?
We're looking at the Truckee River watershed from the dam at Lake Tahoe down to the state line. And that's a big area. Truckee River Day really does unite people from the Tahoe community and Squaw Valley and Alpine Meadows areas and the river residents together to perform this task.
Now, last year you had quite a showing. I believe you had more people than you anticipated.
Oh, yes. Well, we were really excited, but we had 450 people come to River Day last year, and we're anticipating that that will increase quite dramatically this year.
But you're ready for them this year.
We'll be much more ready than we were last year.
And how many people are involved in the group that you're in?
Right now, we have a group of, and we've set up our board. The president is Kathleen Egan, and we have a member of the Patagonia marketing team. We have Ray Butler from the Nevada County Fish and Wildlife Commission, myself, Alice Berg, and Joanne Robeek from the Forest Service, Jim Plain, who is a river resident and a specialist in restoration. And we've used that as a working group. Mainly right now, we're trying to work on grant proposals and be able to match the grants that we already have on a local basis.
Okay. Now I need to break off, but you really have to tell me what this is or I can't let you leave.
Okay. Well, actually, river revegetation can be rather simple, and these are branches of willows, and they are being driven into the ground with stakes that are actually willow stakes. And this whole mass will root into the bank, and as it roots, it will help to stabilize that bank. We sometimes have to use dogwood, our native dogwoods, in areas where we have active beaver.
So you're looking at green cuttings here that will
Right.
actually root in.
Yes, this whole
Interesting.
mass will turn into a bush here in a year or so.
And Brent, perhaps you can use it as a hat if your cowboy hat fails you at the
That's
Cadillac
right.
Ball.
Turn them into horns. And
That's
everything.
right, and then be done. Well, it sounds like everybody's busy and pulling things together. A lot of activities coming up. Certainly Cadillac Ball, the Truckee River Day are both things to look forward to. Next year we'll have the Cannibal Cruise and, of course, the Christmas tree sales prior to that. A lot going on in this town, a lot of people putting in a lot of good energy. I'd like to thank all three of you for being on the show today and sharing with me what your groups are doing. It's been my pleasure.
It's been my pleasure.
There is not enough time on a half-hour program to thank all of the people in our town who volunteer time, energy, or resources to make our town a better place to live. We've had only 6 guests on the show, and yet we've covered a broad array of activities, social events, and other fundraising things that are going on in the town to help make it what it is. Truckee's a tremendous community to be in. I'm certainly proud to live here, and thanks to all the volunteers, both on the show today and out there in the community, who are the unsung heroes of our town. And thank you for watching Truckee Talks.